What is going on, guys? G.O.A.T from the Geek Week here, and we are back with another video. As I'm sure most of you already know, it's been an incredibly sad start to the month of March, as on March 1st, the legendary mangaka Akira Toriyama passed away. Words cannot describe how much this man's work has inspired me throughout the course of my life. Anyone that's familiar with the channel has heard me rant on and on about my love for his works, much like this here. Z over Dragon Ball Z Kai. As a child of the 90s, I mean, nothing to me is going to replace the original 291 episodes of Dragon Ball Z. That's filler included. I mean, it's a part of who I am. I mean, there's not much more to be said about that. Moving on. As I think back to some of my oldest memories as a child, I can remember my mother watching an episode of Dragon Ball with me to see if the show was suitable for children, and ultimately deciding, though there was a lot of violence, the overall theme and morality of the show taught positive life lessons. I can remember the countless hours me and my brother spent playing Dragon Ball games, from Dragon Ball Budokai all the way to Dragon Ball Budokai Tenkaichi 3, and it brings a smile to my face. To the man that made me a fan of manga in the first place, I must say thank you. Thank you for everything. Recently, I had a poll on the channel for a random list video topic, and one of the options was ranking every Dragon Ball arc. Now, full disclosure, this video topic didn't actually win the poll, so the topic that won will be coming in a video to the channel soon. But for now, I felt it was only right to pay homage to the legend himself, Toriyama-san, as we rank every Dragon Ball arc in 3, 2, 1.
We've got a show to do here.
It's gonna be close.
As a heads up, before we begin, we're only going to be covering the first 7 canon arcs of the Dragon Ball series, not including Super, of course, because it is still ongoing. I'm not quite sure if it's going to be continued or not. It's seeming like it is, and if it is, I will be covering that as well. You can count on that. But without further ado, let's begin. Now at number 7, this may be a bit controversial, but I've got to speak from the heart here. I really do. At the number 7 spot, I've got the Buu arc, comprised of the Great Saiyaman Saga, the World Tournament Saga, the Babidi Saga, the Majin Buu Saga, the Fusion Saga, and the Kid Buu Saga. Now make no mistake, I do still very much enjoy this arc. I mean, it has some of the coolest stuff the series has produced. The Fusion Saga in particular, absolutely phenomenal. But the placement of this arc can be explained by revisiting only one of the several sagas I just named. The Great Saiyaman Saga. I know I'm not the only Gohan stan here that was absolutely shattered as a kid when he first donned the cape for the first time. I mean, if he quit fighting to just study, I think I'd be fine with that, because I mean, it fits his character, that's who he is, but this? Nah, not this. This is certainly not what we wanted. Us Gohan fans around the world were just shattered by this.
Awesome. Hey, can I have one too, Mom?
This is just amazing!
Does it fit?
Yeah! Why, it's a super fit!
No, Mom. I don't need one.
Although he would be later redeemed in Superhero, but that's neither here nor there. Now, from here on out is where it's literal torture for me to decide between the arcs, seeing as I love each of these arcs so much for various reasons. At any rate, I'll try my best. At the number 6 spot, it pains me to say it, but I have the Red Ribbon Army arc, comprised of the titular Red Ribbon Army Saga, the General Blue Saga, the Commander Red Saga, and the Fortune Teller Baba Saga. Now, as I said, this pains me to say this, and that's because this was like my absolute favorite Dragon Ball arc in the manga growing up as a kid. I was like absolutely obsessed with this arc. Goku single-handedly dismantling the entire army. I've probably read this arc more than any other arc that I've read, and I've read all of them multiple times. So yeah, this one really has a special place in my heart. But yeah, I had to make tough decisions for this list, and this was as tough as they came. This arc also serves as the first time Goku is like alone by himself in the story, and it's absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. At the number 5 spot, let me get the Saiyan arc, comprised of just the Vegeta saga. Now, just as I've read the Red Ribbon Army arc more than any others, without a doubt, there is no arc that I have watched more times than the Saiyan arc. I mean, it's all we had for like 5 years when Dragon Ball first came to the States. It'd honestly probably be higher on this list too if it were longer. I mean, one of, if not the most iconic opening arc in an anime ever, from the iconic deaths to the iconic poses to the ultimate clash setting up the next arc, the Saiyan saga was an absolute masterclass. From the minute Goku sacrificed himself to defeat Raditz, you knew this was not your average story, and this was a whole new level for Dragon Ball. At the number 4 spot, let me get the Goku arc, comprised of the Emperor Pilaf saga and the Tournament saga. This is the arc that started it all, and to be quite honest, this is when the polarity between the following arcs that would later be named Dragon Ball Z is at its greatest. This, though it's still a battle against good and evil, the world does not hang in the balance in these battles, and it's on a much smaller scale and tone than the later arcs would portray. This is an adventure story, and an absolute joy to experience. A miracle, adventure to, a single wish waits for you. Man, the end theme to Dragon Ball still lives rent-free in my head to this very day.
A miracle adventure to a single wish waits for you. The beating of your heart will see you through.
Who doesn't love Dragon Ball, am I right? At the number 3 spot, let me get the Piccolo arc, comprised of the Tien Shinhan saga, the King Piccolo saga, and the Piccolo Jr. saga. Before I say anything, I just want to reiterate how difficult it was deciphering between these arcs. I mean, wow, I really love these so much. Like, it's always harder when it's a topic that's just near and dear to your heart, and like, it could not get closer than Dragon Ball for me. Like, this is tough. Now, this was where the tonal shift I spoke of began, and it was incredible. As previously mentioned, with Piccolo, the scale of impact that enemies had shifted, as now quite literally the planet hung in the balance. This arc managed to shift Dragon Ball from the brilliant, jovial adventure story to the action-packed super phenomena that it would later become. Oh, and it managed to do this all while simultaneously being a coming-of-age story for Goku. Number two. Let me get the Cell arc, comprised of the Trunks saga, the Android saga, and the Imperfect and Perfect Cell sagas, and the Cell Games saga. I imagine most people would put this at number 1, and I would not be mad at all. It's absolute brilliance. From the introduction of Trunks to the epic reveal of Gohan's Super Saiyan 2 transformation at the Cell Games, it's an absolute magic in both manga and the anime. As a Gohan stan, I'm not gonna lie, I wanted to throw this at the number 1 spot so bad. Like, this arc is just so goated. The tie-in from the Red Ribbon Army with Dr. Gero made the ending all the more sweet when you realize it was Goku's son, not Goku, who put an end to the Red Ribbon Army. That was, at least until he did it again. No, but seriously, the internal character writing with Trunks surpassing Vegeta, but suppressing that because he doesn't want to hurt his father's pride, or Goku constantly trying to get Gohan to fight like him until finally realizing Gohan is not him and he doesn't like fighting like his father. The Cell arc is one of, if not the best in the entire series, and I could not praise it enough. But with that said, there's got to be a number 1, does there not? And at the number 1 spot, let me get the Frieza arc, comprised of the Namek saga, the Captain Ginyu saga, and the titular Frieza saga. Now, to those familiar with my content, this should come as no surprise. I've gone on about my love for this arc in particular on many occasions. It's the ultimate battle of good against evil that introduced us to the iconic Frieza, the one responsible for destroying planet Vegeta. It brought us to Piccolo's homeworld and brought us and him context on what and who Namekians are. It brought us the original and glorious first Super Saiyan transformation. But to be quite honest, the reason this sits at the top spot for me is because it blended the adventure element that I love from previous arcs, with Krillin and Gohan exploring planet Namek, and also brings the world-ending threat subsequent godlike battle at the end that would become the series staple. Oh, and this might be my very favorite version of Vegeta. Up until Raccoon shows up, Vegeta is in straight beast mode this entire arc. Not quite good, not quite bad, just straight up Vegeta. You gotta love it, gotta love it. I mean, I seriously could go on and on for hours about Dragon Ball, but I just wanted to do something to show appreciation to one of the greatest guys to ever do it. Sadly, the impact you've had on my life cannot be explained in a single video, but at the very least, let me just say once more, thank you for everything, Akira Toriyama. You will be missed. Well, that's my list. What's yours? Get in the comments and let me know. If you guys would like to see more videos like this, yeah, also just get in the comments, let me know. And as always, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
Son of a Namek! What is it?